DJ Lil create vibes now.
Welcome to another episode of the Get a Love Like Mine podcast. We are your humble hosts. I'm Keisha Amos. This is my beautiful husband, Sam Amos. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms. This is season 2, episode 13. We're so grateful for the feedback that we've been getting, and this week is a doozy. We actually had someone to contact us that really wants us to discuss the topics that we're going to discuss today. So I'll let my husband go ahead and introduce that.
Again, we're grateful for those that are watching, and also that the content is able to make a difference in people's lives. So today we're going to start probably like at least a 3-part series on marriages and relationships, because we're here getting a lot of feedback, and these are things probably that we may have discussed in the past, but we're going to tie them all together in a different way and hope that you can change your train of thought if there's dysfunction in your relationship. So without going too much into explaining, let's just go ahead and get started.
Let me just add this, because I just feel it on my spirit. The devil is busy, y'all. He is super busy. And so a lot of people's marriages and relationships are under attack, and they don't even realize that the devil has snaked his way in to, divide and conquer. So we just hope that, we say something today that helps you discern and recognize when the enemy is in the midst of your marriage or your relationship. And we hope that we say something that sparks you to, pray first and, repair whatever the devil is trying to take down.
So, off of what you just said right there, let me start with saying this. When you got married and took your vows, God sees your relationship as the two of you become one. You've all read the scripture that the man shall leave and cleave, and the two shall become one. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these marriages you guys are still living your life as if y'all are two people. Well, God sees you as one. Mm-hmm. So the first problem that you're going to have if you keep viewing yourself that way is you're giving Satan something to divide. So you can't divide. It's going to be hard to divide one. But if you're considering yourselves as two people, well, then you're giving him something to cut right down the middle and separate. So you're going to have to start viewing the two of you guys as one. Sometimes I call my wife Sam. I refer to her. Her name is Keisha, right? But I still will call her Sam because this is also me. We are one now. So I have to continue to live my life as if I'm going to sit here, but I'm also sitting there. We are one. So I don't hide money from myself. I don't talk down to me. I don't disrespect me. Right? I don't get in the mirror and beat myself up. I don't put my hands on me. Mm-hmm. This is me. We're one now. So I have to treat my marriage like that. And you guys, I can't tell you what to do with your money. Y'all separate money. This is your money, this is my money. I'm not saying it doesn't work, for the sake of structure and make sure the mortgage don't end up, make sure your bills don't end up in overdraft or whatever. Okay, I understand that. But all this, your money, my money, we're one now. So, we can separate money, but as long as we have understanding this is what we're doing, not he don't know nothing about this money over here, and don't you mention it when you come over here, because he ain't supposed to know. I had a friend, I told this story 1,000 times, and I'm going to tell it one more time. I had a friend, he played pick 3 all the time, and one time he hit some money, and just for the sake of the story, to speed things up, we'll just say it was about, maybe he hit about $2,000 or something like that. Well, he only told his wife about 1,000 of it, because she's gonna want some, so I'm gonna pretend like it was only 1,000, and I'm gonna say, well, honey, I'm gonna give you half. So he gave her 500 of the 1,000 that he's allegedly hit. Well, he gave her the money. She was happy, whatever. And he accidentally left the stove on one day while he was walking his wife out to her car to go to work, and the kitchen burned up. So he had to spend another 1,000 repairing the kitchen. I said, dude, you don't see? Why didn't you just tell her the truth? Well, you're not supposed to let your left hand know what your right hand doing. That's not why the Bible said that. Come on, man. But anyway, I don't want to get off track. Go ahead. I'll let you go ahead and add before we move forward.
Well, I just think it's important for, husbands and wives to know you're not in competition with one another. You guys are one. Like, there's no race. Who races themselves? So there shouldn't be any competition. There should be no jealousy. There should be no hiding things from each other. You guys really are one. And it's if you see each other that way, it makes every decision that you make in your marriage, as far as parenting, it makes every decision so much easier if you guys are one. We have talked about being a blended family before, and the kids going from one household to the other household. When the parents are separate, the kids can get away with murder. They can tell this parent that this is what my dad said, and tell dad this is what my mom said, and they could just get all kinds of things out of both parents because they're not a united front. But when you're united, you can't pull a fast one on either parent. So seeing yourself as one is important in all aspects.
Also, being married, a lot of us got married in the church. We took vows in the church before God, right? Mm-hmm. So we're not going to act all surprised and shocked now that this podcast is biblically based. So based on, you took your vows at church, and you go by the Bible. So a problem I'm seeing, especially with men, I'm going to be hard on the men. I'm a man, and I can look back on my manly mistakes, but I'm going to come down on the men. That's just who I am. So I see men these days, they want to pick and choose what parts of the Bible they want to activate in their household, in their marriage, right? So you want this submissive wife or this Proverbs 31 wife, but you don't want to be the man that leads that wife biblically. So I don't want men to sit here and say, I see these mega churches do this all the time. There's certain subjects in the Bible that they just flat out, they're not going to preach on it. We're never going to have a sermon on that. I'm not going to go into details. Well, I can, slightly, about gay marriage and all that. There's a lot of things that some of these churches, the ones that are on TV, they're just not going to, you're never going to hear a sermon on it. But it's in the Bible. So either you believe the whole Bible or put it away until you're ready for that. We're not going to go in, well, I don't like that page, but I like this page. No. Either it's all or nothing. That's the way it works. So you husbands want your wives to be this submissive creature that you kind of turn her into a servant. Well, being a servant is never a characteristic of a wife in the Bible. That's not there. That's not what it says. God made the first woman came from man. He didn't form her from his foot. He didn't take her from the shoulder from his back, or he took her from his side. She's supposed to walk side by side with him. So we're not gonna discount women just because they're a woman. There are a lot of women just like my wife, way smarter than me, way smarter. I can't sit there and act like my wife is less than me. But the Bible says I'm not gonna put her in front of me either. We're to walk together side by side. It all comes together as we're supposed to be one. Mm-hmm. So I'm not gonna talk down to her just because she's the weaker vessel, the weaker sex. I'm male, she's female. My wife is smarter than me. My wife makes more money than me. That has nothing to do with our marriage, right? We're still one. And the principles of the Bible are going to always work in my marriage because we're not putting either one of us ahead of the other in that aspect.
We honor God with our marriage. And so, like my husband said, all of those outside factors don't even matter because we're one. We pray together. We talk to God together. We talk about God together.
Let me stop you there. Let me just say this. If you want your relationship to really take a turn, just try praying with your spouse. Just do it. Just see what happens. Okay, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. But you mentioned about being a servant. So Jesus was a servant. So being a servant is, it's got a bad connotation because of, our society, how they look at things. But being of service to your spouse is not a bad thing.
And it's not gender related.
But that's just what I was going to say. But it's not a woman thing either. It is, we are of service to each other. I do things for my husband does things for me. People talk about their love language. My love language is acts of service. That's how I show love to my children, to my husband, to everyone, by doing things for them. Even more so than showing affection. That's just how I show love. So being a servant, it's not a bad thing, but like my husband said, it's not a gender thing. It's not gender specific. So, I do see a lot of husbands who, feel like they shouldn't have to do anything. Like the wife should cook, she should clean, she should take care of the children, and she got to go to work full time. She got to pay half these bills. I've seen men sit on the porch and drink beer while their wife is cutting the grass. Like, I've seen some men who feel like women should serve like they are the king. Like, she is a peasant and they are the king, not they are the king and she is the queen and someone should be serving the both of them. But they literally see the woman as the servant, and I can't get down with that. That is taking it a bit far. But like you said, when you read the Bible, you have to read the whole Bible to know that when people read Proverbs 31 about, women and what a regal wife, mother should be. But Proverbs 31 is the last chapter. 1 through 30 is all instructions for you men. Now, are you reading that? Are you acting out on that? Are you doing the things that the Bible says that you should do? Are you treating your wife like Christ treats the church? You got to think about that when you sitting on the porch drinking that beer and she cutting the grass, because I don't think that's how Christ treats the church.
So it's not coincidence, I don't think, that Proverbs 31 is at the back of the book. And even at that, it's crazy that some folks will skip over the first 1 through 30, the first 30 chapters, and jump straight to 31 for the instruction of what the woman is supposed to look like. So, like I say, if you're going to have vows and take vows in the church and have Christ in your relationship, don't pick bits and pieces out that benefit you. I mean, we can all do that. That's like a really immature thing to do. Very selfish. You know, if we struggle with selfishness, you know, it happens. But let's move on from there. We've heard this a lot, that communication is key in a relationship. Well, we could have episode after episode just off of this one topic, communication. How husbands relate to their wives. So I had a young lady approach me that her husband, I really don't know what he was thinking, but I'm gonna go ahead. I'm not gonna call out any names because that's irrelevant to the story. But she says that he will threaten her. He's more sexually active than she is. But I mean, not that she's totally zeroed out on it. He just feels like, okay, I need to jumpstart this process so there'll be more activity. So he'll threaten her, oh, well, if you don't start getting busy more often, I'm gonna go back to my ex, or I'm gonna go find it on the outside. Well, I can't even imagine talking to my wife like that and thinking, think about this. Where is this going? Where is this going from here? So, if your mind thought for 1 second that which just flowed out of your mouth was going to make her just snatch all her clothes off and dive off the ceiling fan. Really? Like, you're going the wrong way, cuz, you're the saying, the cart before the horse. Well, you're trying to go this way, but the horse is back there. You're going the wrong way. You can't talk to your spouse that way and think you're going to get what you want out of it. I'm not even a woman, and I wouldn't go for that.
That's never going to work.
It's never going to work. So I don't know how your mind works. I'm not a psychiatrist. But I'd be willing to bet, if this was a Family Feud survey said, I'm going to survey 100 people. I bet 100, and they get the red X.
Yeah.
That's not going to stimulate your wife, or any other girlfriend, anything else you got going on. Oh, if you don't start doing what I need you to do right now, I'm going to go over there. Guess what she's going to say? Bye. I'm out of here. Yeah, hey, go and we'll see you when you get back. But you're not gonna bully me.
Not.
Yeah, you're not gonna bully me into doing that. That's preposterous to even think something like that. But
it's disrespectful, and it's really unbelievable that he would even say something like that. But
it happens more often than you would think, right?
Husbands, I have come on the podcast before and told women about how to communicate with their husband, not to talk to them like they're your child, and to not to fuss at them, not to fuss at husbands, not to treat them, to talk to them gently like you talk to your kids, Well, if you do talk to your kids gently, but I've told you, don't be harsh, don't fuss, don't tell them what they need to do, like you're their mother. But to the men, don't ever get comfortable disrespecting your wife, the mother of your children. That is just your girlfriends. That is unacceptable. And almost wonder, does this woman's husband like have mommy issues? Because I don't think any man who respects his mother would talk to a woman that way, or should talk to a woman that way. I won't say they won't, because they never cease to amaze me, but that is so disrespectful on so many levels. But you have to learn how to communicate with your spouse, and pushing her button or threatening her. I think I told you this once before about an ex-boyfriend I had, that he felt like I was overweight, and his way of encouraging me to lose weight was by fat shaming me. That's never gonna help. That's never gonna work in the way you think it's gonna work. That only pushes me away, because one thing about women, we don't forget anything that you say. My husband probably, what has been about 10 years ago, and we've been married for 8 years. We used to argue a lot, and he used to say, "You get on my nerves." And it's 10 years later, and I still never forget that he said that. It's still a big deal to me. It's like still etched in stone in my brain. So, you can't speak to your wives, your significant other. When you guys are one, like, do you talk to yourself like that? If you would talk to yourself like that, then you probably need some therapy or something. But if you don't talk to yourself like that, you really have no business talking to your significant other that way. That's just totally unacceptable.
So that would trigger me to wonder, what do you think of your wife? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's clear.
Yeah, what value do you put on her? Is she has very little value at all? Like, and we did a podcast on this not that long ago, that we see relationships go astray or break up, whatever. And not only does what come out of your mouth just slice people up, you have to understand, a lot of times, just like what she just said, something may come out of your mouth, and 10 years later, you still can't pull it back. It just should have never came out, but it did. And she never forgot. And there's probably nothing worse than feeling like having this thought in the back of your head that this is what this person really thinks of me. Mm-hmm. Like, here we are celebrating our anniversary and out to dinner and going on a trip or whatever. But way back in the back of her mind, she's thinking, but he still thinks of me like what you said when you called me out of my name, when you threatened to go sleep with your ex, or
like, what kind of trust are you going to have in your relationship? Like, even if things start going good, let's just say things start going great in their relationship for the next 3 years, and then in 3 years she has some sort of accident where she's unable to perform sexually. The first thing she gonna think is this man is about to go sleep with his ex, because he already threatened to do it
when I was perfectly healthy.
Right. So I mean, that is just, there's no room in that for that type of talk in marriage. Like, you really have to treat your spouse with kid gloves. You cannot talk to them in a way. I see a lot of people that say, "Well, I was just mad. I was just mad, I only said that because I was mad." Like, you know how to control your mouth.
And how many times is mad going to be an acceptable excuse to just blurt something out that you can't pull back?
And then you keep repeating the same thing. Like, every time you get mad, you calling me a PITCH.
Right. Yeah,
every time. Nah. It's not. You didn't just say it because you was mad. You said it because this is what you think of me,
and it's only inside there.
And you obviously don't have any fear that I'm gonna leave, because you keep saying it. Like, you just keep doing it. Like, you don't think there's any consequence for your actions. And you should always think there are consequences for your actions in your marriage. Like, this is a person that's supposed to be with you the rest of your life and grow old with you. Like, what if you guys grow old and then you get to be, 77 years old, and she say, "You remember when you kept calling me that?"
Tyler Perry.
Yes, she put you in the wheelchair at the bottom of the stairs and just leave you down there. Oh,
you can't do nothing about it.
Yeah, that's you setting yourself up. You reap what you sow. You put what you put out is what you get back. So you better be careful of the things that you say and do to yourself. You know what I'm saying? To your spouse, to the other you.
So, I think about this all the time in my own life, that life is hard enough as it is, right? You have parents, friends, your kids, your spouse. Out of all these folks that are around you, co-workers, this person, to me, in my marriage, I'm married, is going to be the closest person to me. I'm not saying I don't love my parents. My dad is like my best friend. My kids, we text all the time about playoffs. I mean, we're just connected like that. Mm-hmm. We text about shoes. We send them pictures. We're all close. But there's no one closer to me than my spouse. So I have a hard day. I got supervisors that give me a hard time. I may have a hard time at work, traffic bad, car breakdown, bills, whatever. Where's my release? Who am I gonna go to? If it's this person and I'm treating her like, and I treat her bad, or I'm competing with her, where's the release? At some point, I have to have somebody. This is the one person that, if I'm going to take on the world, this is my one partner in crime right here. Mm-hmm. Now, if I'm talking down to my partner in crime, if I don't think much of my partner in crime, so I expect her to do all the cooking, the cleaning. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with cooking and cleaning. But there's also nothing wrong with me cooking and cleaning too. We can both cook and clean, can we not?
We can,
yeah.
And we do.
And we do. Don't we both? Do we both cook? Do we both clean?
We do.
Sometimes we do them together. But that's another podcast. We won't go into that podcast today. But this is my one partner in crime. Who am I going to release to get away from the world when the world's beating me up? When I'm tired and my job ain't worth a darn, and I need somebody to go to Walgreens and get my prescription, and who's gonna do all that when I'm talking down to the one that I took vows and I got a ring that I won't wear?
Cause you know what I'll tell you if you ask me to go get your medicine. What? Tell your ex-wife, the one you're threatening to sleep with, to go get your medicine.
The one that swing from the ceiling fan.
Cause I'm not about to do it.
So, am I setting myself up? What kind of communication do we have here? It's broken. Well, you probably was seeing yourselves as two people. Mm-hmm. And out of those two, I'm a little higher than you. Right? I'm a little up here and you a little down here.
Yeah.
So, that makes you kind of my servant or whatever. So, how am I going to ever ask you to participate in anything that I need? And I don't even see where I allowed Satan to come right in there, because I was seeing us as two, and Satan said, you know what, you sure right. Y'all are two. So based on that, I'm going to draw a dotted line that y'all can't see. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to set you on this side of the football field, and set you on that side. And I don't care what play you call, y'all going to be going at each other. Like the Rams, and who did the Rams play in the Super Bowl? I don't even,
the Broncos? No, was it?
I was gonna say Denver too, but it wasn't Denver, was it? No, it wasn't Denver. Well, they played somebody.
Because it doesn't matter, because they didn't win, whoever the other person was.
Right. So Satan draws this line right down the middle of y'all that you never saw it. It's almost clear. Mm-hmm. But here y'all are. He's got y'all going at each other like Golden State and Memphis. People getting ejected and flagrant fouls, and this is your marriage, man. Y'all supposed to be one. But
one band, one sound.
one band, one sound. But I hear a second drummer in the back there. Hey, you off beat. So you're gonna have to call better plays if you want to win. So you're never gonna win with us being two people. So, cause the house divided can't stand. It's gonna fall. And we don't want your marriages to fall. We don't want them to fail. That's the only reason we're here. That's the only reason we sitting there talking right now. Cause it's late, I could be asleep. But we care. I enjoy doing this. And I enjoy it. One of the reasons, cause I get to spend time with my wife. My wife works so much, I rarely get to see her. And we're not big video callers. We don't call each other on video. But sometimes we do, just so I can see you, and then we laugh and giggle like kids, because we don't really use it. But we get enjoyment out of this because we get to spend time together. But this stuff can help your marriage, but you have to see it in a different light. If you don't see the two of y'all as one, if you still see y'all as two, it's probably going to be harder than it should be. Then, to me, this stuff is easy once your mindset is right and your mentality. You can walk better if you have a better understanding. So,
I used to always say, you need to know what when somebody is apologizing or saying, like, let's say we had an argument and you said sorry, and I say, well, what you sorry for? And then you would get upset, like, why I got to say all that? And I say, I need to know that you know what you're sorry for so that you won't do it again. Don't just tell me you're sorry if you don't know what you're sorry for. Tell me what you're sorry for so I'll know it's not going to happen again. In your marriage, when you guys make that vow to be one, you have to be able to self-reflect and evaluate the mistakes that you are making. You can't just come into the marriage and think, I'm doing everything right. Because you're not. We're all sinners. We all fall short. So if you're looking at your marriage and you're saying, yeah, I do talk to my wife like that, or I do treat my husband this way, it's okay to self-reflect and realize what you're doing wrong and fix it.
To get it right. To
get it right so that you don't do it again. My husband and I, we talk about this all the time, that we used to argue. Like when we were dating, we argued all the time. We used to break up at least once a week. But it was something that always drew us back together. And then we had to just look at it, pray about it, decide, is this what we're going to do? We decided it was. We learned to communicate, and we don't argue. We're not breaking up. Like I said, we've been married for 8 years. And it's all about the way we communicate with each other. We stopped pointing the finger at the other one. You don't cook. You don't clean. You don't, you're not getting naked seven days a week. Like that, number one, to me is unrealistic. But pointing a finger at your spouse is not going to make your relationship better, because I guarantee you there is a part that you are playing. And we talked about this not too long ago. If your man goes out and cheats, but at the same time you're saying, well, I'm not giving him none for, because I'm mad that he didn't do this or do that. You're playing a part in it.
Played a part.
This is not just all on him. Yes, he did something wrong. Yes, he broke the vow. But you did too. Because the Proverbs 31 don't say hold out. That's not part of it. So, you guys just need to learn to communicate and accept accountability for the part that you play in the problems that you have in your relationship. You can't just come in and put all the blame on him or all the blame on her. It goes two ways, So I just feel like, you guys need to learn to communicate what the real issue is. If you came to me and said, if you're not giving me some 7 days a week, then I'm going to my ex. I'm going to want to know what is wrong with you that you have to have it 7 days a week. Like you don't get tired. You're not working enough hours at work. Like what is going on? You're not eating enough red meat. What is it that is going on with you that has you thinking that's what you need? And at your big old age. It'd be different if you was like 17, 18, 19, they're younger, they are like jackrabbits. But you over 50? Why is that so important to you? I would want to know that from my spouse. And if he can't tell me, then he don't deserve to have it 7 days a week. He ought to be able to answer that question, because that just is not a normal thing.
So, we're going to try to draw the line here. Probably in the next episode, we will discuss things that you can do or should do or consider to make your spouse's life better. Mm-hmm. It really starts with a want to. Give an effort to make it up. I've made this comment before, and I'm not asking all the listeners or whatever to adopt it. But it's just the way I think. I mean, everybody thinks different. I told my wife before, and I'll say it again, if I can't find a way to make your life better every single day, then you don't need me. Now, I may not succeed at doing it every day, but at least I'm going to try to. And the other thing is, like what you were saying, is you need to be willing to learn. Fix what's in the mirror. Mm-hmm. Anybody can draw a list of the other person's faults. But again, like when we started this episode, how far do you think that's going to get you pointing out all the other person's faults, as opposed to being the mature one and saying, you know what, why don't we try this? Why don't we try fixing what's in the mirror and then come back to the table and discuss that? Let me talk about things that I can do to make me better. Because if you feel like, hopefully you don't feel like you have it all together.
Oh, they do.
And I'm one of those people, I don't care what it is. If it's washing cars, fixing cars, going to work, whatever it is, I don't care what it is. If I feel like I can learn more about it, I want to learn it. Let me see. I want to be better than I was. I don't care what I was doing, even if it's vacuuming the floor. If I can find a way to vacuum better, just let me see. And let me decide if that's going to make me better or not. Mm-hmm. But I can't just sit there and say, well, never mind all that. You keep all those videos. I don't need that. I'm at the pinnacle. I'm as top as I can get. You're never as top as you can get. Mm-hmm. No one's too old to learn. The Bible says only a fool can't be taught. So don't be a fool. So in our next episode, we're going to talk about things you can do to make your spouse's life better. And I think you should be able to, if you're having a lot of disagreements or dysfunction in your marriage, y'all should make a list of the things that you like about that person or liked when y'all were getting along. See, we're going to have to change the narrative and focus on more positive stuff.
I was going to say that a minute ago. Accentuate the positive, not the negative. Instead of pointing out all the things that your spouse does wrong, compliment them on the things that they do right. Because I don't know about you, but when somebody gives me compliments, somebody tells me, you look good in pink, guess what I'm about to do? Buy a whole bunch of pink stuff. Oh, I look good in pink. So when you compliment the person and focus on the positive things they do, that encourages them and motivates them to do more of those things. Focusing on the negative, what you put in is what you get back. So if you focusing on the negative is what you're going to get back. You cannot teach by, pointing pointing the finger at somebody else. You can't teach them to be better by doing that. That's never going to work.
And all that falls under communication.
Communicating. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so.
Well, that is it for this episode. Like my husband said, this will probably be a 3-part series. But again, happy Mother's Day to all the moms. I hope that you guys have a chance to sleep today and relax and, have your husband be the servant for the day. Anyway, if you're not already following us, make sure you do so at Get a Love Like Mine podcast on Instagram and Facebook. If you would like your question answered on the show, or you need some advice, you can send us an email at getalovelikeminepodcast@gmail.com. Put Ask the Amoses in the subject line, and we will read your question anonymously and answer it. And that is it. Happy Sunday.